Hello, I've made one more sort of big change to the VolTeer application. If we look at uh, the VolTeer solution, under the solution I've got the middle tier projects we've talked about already, the presentation layer, which we've talked about the skills in volunteer. Now, I mentioned before about the web services. Now, we said that the web services for for volunteer. Remember, there was two sizes of projects: the projects and the vendor side, and then the customer and skills side. So if data needs to, if you need to display data, skills data that's sitting on the skills side, we could just go through the BLL and the DAL layer to get to the data. What if there's a request from the vendor side? The vendor's not part of this application, but I've got to serve it through the same data layers. I don't have to, but if I don't, I'm writing this twice. So could I expose a layer to the project side? Could I expose a layer to the vendor side and not have to reinvent the wheel? Cool. So I created the WCF layer, Windows Communication Foundation layer. This is the newest way of doing web services through .NET. Again, similar. We're gonna this same stack. We're gonna have to do it on the Java side. But anyway, the WCF layer. This is just a dumb, so far, just a dumb WCF application, a standalone, not a web services library, but an application itself. And it doesn't do much. It's sort of a one-trick pony. It's that Hello World WCF. I just wanted to stand it up and get the references correct. Anyhow, a WCF application, and if I look at the references, remember we said before about the references from the presentation layer? You can consider the WCF layer as just like the presentation layer, except for this is going to be served over to the skills. I'm sorry, to the vendor and the project side. So the vendor and project application lives somewhere over here. It calls the WCF layer, calls a method in or a contract in the WCF layer, and the WCF layer has access to the business logic layer, which has access to the data access layer, which has access to the data domain. So we can write a store procedure on the real DAL layer in the database, have that store procedure hooked up to the EDMX, have that served through the business logic layer, have a return back through the WCF layer, and only have to write this once instead of having to write this whole stack more than once. Very, very cool stuff. I expect to see the same stack on the Java side. A presentation layer, a middle tier layer, the equivalent of this middle tier layer, a services layer. The difference between the two, though, I think, in the Java side, we're probably going to have many different projects. I know that this is a little bit better as far as grouping solutions together. This is sort of a one-stop shopping solution. This does everything. This does the tiers, does the presentation, does the WCF, and pretty much everything else. So I deployed it. If you can see over here, it's the beanstalk is starting up. Looks like it's successfully deployed. If I right-click this, it's the same old publish to AWS. Not much to it. I mean, once I start writing my web services, the redeployment is a piece of cake. It's already set up for the WCF. Environment must be in ready state. Okay, so it's still thinking on the other side. Doing the initial deploy on the Beanstalk does take a couple minutes. So it literally has been a couple minutes ago. All right, cool. So this is ready to go. This is the first three floors of the skyscraper. This is like the structure of the whole thing. As we move along, we're going to be building folders and pages in VolTeer, which are going to be serving data from this and displaying in VolTeer. It's going to be pretty cool. The next couple steps we have to do is set up the test projects. So the idea behind the test projects is they're again another layer, another folder, application folder. We'll call it test projects, and in test projects we'll have unit tests that have to run at build time. You'll see. In other words, we can't compile unless the unit tests pass. That's sort of the idea behind it. Excellent. Thank you very much for your help.